Hey, before I get into this, just wanted to say while doing this video, I saw some things I wanted to change in the drawing, so if you notice any little differences between what you see here and the public post, that's why. Also, if you don't know already, I'm doing a giveaway. Check it out and maybe get a print and a pen and a pin. Okay, thanks. First, we have Carly. Many of these characters, it was actually the first time I drew them in color, so I had to kind of decide their palette on the fly a bit. I took a little bit of inspiration from Princess Daisy. I was kind of going for that vibe with the light brown hair and blue eyes. A little bit of the personality, but yeah. Gator. Boulder, who I drew as a little doodle ages ago, but you know, it counts. Hannah. Frankie and Hurricane. Theo. Lexi. Merlin. He's a bad magician. Mavis. Bradford. Daisy. And Boko, who no one's ever seen him and Daisy in the same room. Wonder why. Gina, Bear, Carlos, Rajiv, Ashima, who got a much needed glow up, Nia, and I know there's no canonical mermaid, but I drew her once with Skiff, so you know it counts. So we have the mermaid and Skiff, of course. So these three here are a couple of OCs. The thought was basically, what if Gordon had coaches like Annie and Claire? You know, what if the Express coaches had faces and personalities, kind of like Annie and Claire Bell counterparts, except they are just as pompous and big-headed and uptight as Gordon is. So you have Holly, Ivy, and Laurel. And I've never posted them, but I drew them, and so it counts. Flynn, Harold, and Belle. Harvey, who I only drew him on like a post-it note ages and ages ago for a Duck in the Water storyboard, and I couldn't even find it to reference it, but it counts. Rebecca, super cute. This, ignore that, that's nobody. Murdoch, Hero, Marion, Timothy, or rather Timothy, Bill and Ben, or that's Bill and that's Ben, doesn't matter. Galen, who is actually Gordon's little sister. She's based on Gay Crusader, and she is an OC, but she's had a little more prominent role over the years. I've been a little more involved, so I've included her. Of course, you have Flying Scotsman, Spencer with, you know, not one thought in his head, Vinny, Connor, and Caitlin. Toad, who is just kind of hard to humanize.
Brother, what's that?
I have him as a Butler school dropout, and he met Oliver when Oliver was on one of his benders. It's a long story, and he kind of hangs around him for fun, I guess. Yeah, so that's Toad. And then we have Molly, who I drew her once, like super early on, and never drew her again, so I got to do a little redesign. I think she's so cute here. You also have Proteus, who the story of Proteus is something made up by Lady. So this is Lady. Proteus, is a made-up person or story from Lady. Proteus is actually Len, and he is Lady's cousin. He works in IT. Yeah, that's all. He's just a guy. We'll come back to the main cast in a minute. Paxton, Stepney, Ginty, Annie and Clarabelle, Samson, Philip, and Stanley. We'll do the main cast. So if you don't recognize these guys, you're probably new. But that's Thomas, Edward, Henry, Gordon, James, Percy, Toby and Henrietta, Duck, Donald, and Douglas. These two are meant to be told apart. And Oliver, that guy. As I said, this is Lady. Diesel. I know they're like meant to be the same character, but I kind of treat modern Diesel and classic Diesel as kind of being more two different characters. And my Diesel is a little more geared toward classic Diesel, a little more serious. Diesel 10, living his best life, and I really do mean his best life. It is not good for anyone else. Skarloey and Rheneas. Ryan, Rosie, Millie, and this, I've named her Cherry, so she kind of represents the equivalent of the troublesome trucks or the troublesome delinquents. And her design is actually based off fan art from the Avengers Nerd. Charlie, Emily. I drew this whole thing thinking this was Mrs. Kindly. No, this is the refreshment lady that Peter Sam left behind. This is Stephen and Duke, Peter Sam, Sir Handel. The Sir is completely made up on his part. Duncan and Cranky, as we all know, legend. Over here are 3 more OCs. So this is Duck's mom, Holly. Different Holly. Jackie, who is Duck's cousin. And then you have Ramona, who is Diesel's niece. And Ramona and Jackie are dating, which means Duck and Diesel have to see each other at like family events sometimes outside of work, which neither are huge fans of. Continuing on, we have George, Salty, and his design is kind of based or inspired by Smee from Peter Pan, because from the very beginning, if I try to imagine human Salty, Smee just comes to mind. Porter, Victor, Kevin. This is Dennis. Rusty and Luke. So Luke actually lives with Rusty. Of course, the Fat Controller, Dowager Hat, and the Fat Controller's daughter, Bernadette Hat, who is learning how to run the railway and will eventually take over from her dad. Nepotism allegations are completely unfounded. This is Trevor, very much kind of a wet cat vibe going on, and he is maybe a little romantically involved with Elizabeth. Then you have Bertie, try and guess who he's based on. Scruff and Whiff, Den and Dart, and finally Ferdinand, Bash, and Dash. For that one, it does matter, but it's not easy to tell. And yeah, so there you have every single canon character I've ever drawn for Ask the Famous 8, plus some choice OCs, all in one picture. This took me like 5 months. I hope you enjoyed, and I'm gonna go fix Douglas's tie. Shout out to my Sleepy superfans, Charlotte and Sam, and thank you to my other patrons, Abba Google Heaven, Arlo, Marie M, and the Milan Tuner. And you know what? Thank you everyone who supported me over the last 10 years. It's really meant a lot.